night sky stands still. Across that stillness, stars pulse like ancient beacons suspended in an infinite cathedral of every breath of wind on Earth lingers, slow and delicate, before the impossible begins. In a single, shuddering instant, the planet accelerates. No engines, no warning, only motion without cause. A surge toward the cosmic limit. Air trembles. Its molecules collide and collapse, squeezed into radiant plasma streaming over the continents. Cloud banks rip apart, stretching into luminous ribbons that spiral into the upper atmosphere before they can reform. The surface shakes as though dragged by unseen hands. The crust groans, bending under stress no mountain chain ever knew. Cities, coasts, forests, all are swept into the same incomprehensible rush. Mass upon mass, flung forward with the speed of a dream. From orbit, Earth becomes an emerald flare. Its blues and greens collapsed into a single electric spectrum as relativistic Doppler shifts push visible light into ultraviolet. To distant stars, it appears less as a planet than a blade of lightning. Cutting across darkness, shadows vanish. They cannot exist when light itself has no time to bend around objects. On every street, clocks refuse their rhythm. Second hands arrested in mid-sweep as time dilation sinks its teeth into the familiar. To those bound upon the surface, the universe outside begins to age faster. The moon swinging through entire epochs in a heartbeat. The oceans flatten. Their surface, pressed by invisible inertia, rises in the direction of flight like a single continental tide. Molecules at the leading edge compress two densities found only inside neutron stars, while at the trailing edge, vacuum blooms. Currents spiral in impossibly thin sheets, tearing apart ecosystems before any mind can register the change. Stars ahead crowd together into a single, blazing point, white, blue, and needle bright. While behind the planet, the sky opens into a cavern of red. A stretched echo of galaxies drifting backward at near infinite speed. Every constellation is lost. Every map of heaven becomes irrelevant. Instruments scream data that no one can interpret fast enough to matter. As velocity approaches light speed, the energy needed to maintain it rises without limit, transforming the very crust into stored kinetic fury. Atoms elongate along the axis of motion, their electron clouds forced into pancake-thin shells by Lorentz contraction. Even mountains shrink. Everest becomes a glowing iron nail driven flat against the rushing horizon. Particles attack. What was once harmless interstellar dust now strikes like nuclear fire, each grain carrying the energy of a meteorite. The magnetosphere blazes with auroral arcs 10,000 times brighter than polar lights, a dying shield against cosmic debris. Every impact births a crater of plasma, each crater erased an instant later by the next. Time breaks, not in drama, but in strange grace, seconds becoming hours, hours collapsing into fractions. Observers aboard Earth drift in an eternal twilight between instants, while the cosmos beyond races through millennia. Civilizations in other star systems would rise and fall, while one heartbeat here struggles to finish. Cells cannot tell the difference between the stretch of time and the stretch of space. Yet every process becomes suspended, like moths trapped in amber. People locked mid-step, voices held mid-syllable, all bodies obeying a physics older than life. No panic reaches completion, no scream ends. Everything is preserved in an unintentional stasis. A paradox grows. If Earth is truly at light speed, its mass should be infinite, yet it moves. If its surface holds life, that life should be annihilated, yet it lingers, poised in a strange half-state. Somewhere beyond ordinary reality, new rules emerge. Rules hinted at by equations, but never witnessed. Colors vanish. Vision collapses into two extremes. A dagger of blinding blue ahead, a deep well of fading red behind. The familiar greens of forest, the gold of deserts, the white of polar ice, all lost in the spectral crush. No artist, no camera, no sensor could record such a palette. It exists only in motion itself. Gravity strains. The planet's shape warps, poles squeezed inward, equator stretched. Seismic waves roll like cosmic tides across continents, while magma shifts beneath the crust, drawn into patterns unseen since Earth's creation. Mountains rise and fall in milliseconds, tectonic scars rewriting geography without warning. Questions multiply. Does the core still spin, generating a magnetic field, or is it frozen in relativistic limbo? Do orbital satellites exist, or are they swept ahead, disassembled atom by radiation and stress? Does the moon remain companion or become a pale echo drifting in an accelerated sky? Silence returns. Not the silence of peace, but of the inaudible, where frequencies cannot propagate because motion outruns vibration. Winds cease to be winds, becoming instead steady streams of charged particles sliding along the planet's skin. Even the concept of day and night dissolves. There is only forward and behind, a perpetual dusk. The horizon burns. This is no metaphor, but a literal ignition. Nitrogen, oxygen, and every trace gas igniting into a shock-luminous sheet at the leading edge. The surface ahead glows white, then blue, then transparent. Atoms stripped to plasma before yet behind the atmosphere freezes, its molecules slowed into immobility, forming a crystal-like haze. Here lies the riddle. A planet built for gentle orbits now moves like a photon. A world made for minutes and hours now ticks across eons. A species bound by the pace of heartbeats now drifts in a time where stars explode like fireworks. In the outside frame, somewhere within this impossible state, the seeds of comprehension stir. Relativity whispered of this realm, but never invited us inside. Physics warns that no mass can reach light speed, but here, Earth races unshattered, unconsumed, a contradiction streaking through cosmic ink. The moment is a single breath of evidence, then gone. Beyond the veil of speed, the universe looks back. Galaxies blink, quasars flare, and background radiation folds in upon itself like a closing eye. What once seemed infinite now feels like a corridor, narrow and rushing, lined with the ghosts of everything once known. The cosmos no longer surrounds Earth. It streams past, like a river past a fallen leaf. And still, the question remains. Can anything survive this? Can a world outrun causality itself and still remain whole? Or has Earth already crossed into a place where survival and destruction no longer have meaning? The image lingers, a thin blue sphere, compressed into a spear of light, piercing the fabric of spacetime. Behind it, a trail of altered starlight and fractured time. Ahead of it, only the impossible. The chapter closes not with an answer, but with a sensation, an unending forward motion. A heartbeat paused between centuries, a planet caught on the edge of its own extinction and revelation. Somewhere in the blur of photons and plasma, Earth carries its memories like fossils embedded in a comet. Its people paused, stretched, distorted, become myths in transit. And at the edge of all known physics, a whisper. If motion can erase time, what can time erase of us? The century turns, gaslight flickers against polished brass, ticking pendulums, the smell of ink and cold night air. Observatories rise like glass shells above towns asleep, their domes rotating toward the dark sky where stars appear eternal, indifferent. Yet under that starlight, human minds strain to measure something no eye can see but every beam of dawn depends upon. The speed of light, a clock ticks. Each second is an empire of possibility, each measurement a test of reality itself. Galileo once tried with lanterns on distant hills. Ulrachmer inferred it from the dance of Jupiter's moons. Fizeau spun toothed wheels through beams of light. Each attempt draws a contour around the invisible, sketching a limit that resists every probe. A question flickers. If light has a speed, is it instant or finite, absolute or relative? The 19th century imagines a luminiferous ether, a silent medium like cosmic air carrying. Waves of light across the void. Scientists build experiments to find this ether, to measure Earth's drift through it as it orbits the sun. A basement laboratory hums. Albert Michelson and Edward Morley, in 1887, set mirrors upon a floating table of stone and mercury, the most sensitive device ever made to detect the ether wind. They expect to see fringes shift as Earth slides through this invisible ocean, but nothing shifts. The light returns unchanged. The ether, if it exists, hides beyond reach. A crack appears. Without an ether, what carries light? If Earth's motion cannot alter its speed, then perhaps light does not obey the same rules as sound or wind. This null result lands like a meteor in the quiet of physics, small at first, but with a shock wave that will change everything. Equations emerge. Into this silence steps a young clerk in a Swiss patent office, scribbling between patent applications. Albert Einstein, 1905, on the electrodynamics of moving bodies. No ether, no preferred frame. The speed of light is constant for all observers, no matter their motion. Space and time are not fixed stages, but threads woven together, elastic under velocity. Space bends, time bends. Together, they form a single fabric, space-time, where motion and gravity alter the very geometry of reality. Einstein's special relativity becomes a cosmic litmus test. Its predictions, strange yet precise, clocks moving fast tick slower. Lengths contract, simultaneity dissolves. The first mini-reveal unfurls. The faster an object moves, the more energy it requires to accelerate further. Approaching the speed of light, that requirement explodes toward infinity. Not metaphorical infinity, but a literal unending rise without limit. Mass itself becomes energy. Energy becomes mass. And the equations whisper, no mass-bearing object can reach c. A hush falls. This is not a technological obstacle, but a law of nature written into the structure of space-time. No stronger engine, no mightier rocket, no future metallurgy can cheat it. In Einstein's universe, the speed of light is not merely fast, it is sacred, a boundary condition of existence. Time slips. According to relativity, as an object accelerates, time for it slows relative to a stationary observer. Approach light speed, and a second aboard the craft may span years outside. At light speed, time for the traveler would stop altogether. This is the second mini-reveal. Motion not only costs energy, it reshapes time itself. A chalkboard glows. Physicists of the early 20th century write Lorentz transformations and Minkowski diagrams, mapping events as coordinates in a four-dimensional continuum. They see the universe not as a stage, but as a network of light cones, each event bound by the ultimate limit of c. The boundary of causality itself emerges from these drawings. Galaxies drift. Light from their stars travels for millions of years, constant and faithful, regardless of the motion of Earth or the observer. Spectroscopes reveal redshifts, the fingerprints of motion and expansion, yet always anchored by that cosmic constant. This constancy becomes a measuring rod for the entire universe, a bridge between here and the unreachable. Still, the dream persists. Writers and physicists imagine warp drives, wormholes, shortcuts through folded dimensions. If velocity cannot break the limit, perhaps space itself can bend enough to cheat distance. But every serious calculation returns to the same wall. An infinite energy cost at the brink of c. The paradox deepens. If nothing massive can reach light speed, then what would happen to a whole planet forced to do so? Would mass turn to pure energy? Would time within stop while the outside races ahead? This hypothetical teeters between impossibility and prophecy. A thought experiment trembling on the edge of science. Histories converge. The story of light's measurement is also the story of human restlessness. Galileo on the hillside, Rachmer with his moons, Fizeau with his wheels, Michelson with his interferometer, Einstein with his relativity. Each step strips away an illusion, tightening the net around the ultimate limit. Each name a lighthouse, pointing toward the cosmic speed barrier. Knowledge darkens. Relativity does not offer comfort. It offers a view of reality stranger than myth. Mass and energy intertwined, time and space mutable, simultaneity gone. The horizon of speed absolute. This is not a ceiling, but a veil. Cross it, and causality unravels. Another question flickers. If time slows near c, could one see the universe's future by riding the edge? If energy climbs to infinity, could new physics emerge in the furnace of motion? If nothing can reach c, why does light itself live there, massless yet real? The tension builds. Because on the other side of these equations lies speculation. Exotic particles, tachyons, quantum loopholes, cosmic strings, negative energy. None proven, all imagined. Each a faint bridge across the abyss Einstein described. But for now, the bridge remains a sketch, not a path. A candle gutters. The age of ether is gone, replaced by an age of space-time and uncertainty. In laboratories worldwide, laser pulses, atomic clocks, and particle accelerators confirm relativity's precision to astonishing decimals. No crack yet appears in the cosmic speed limit, and yet the whisper persists. If laws are patterns, Can patterns change? If space-time is a fabric, can it tear under enough stress? If energy equals mass, could the right transformation let matter leap the boundary? Every discovery births not only answers, but sharper questions. The chapter closes. A camera pulls back from chalkboards, observatories, patent offices, and laboratories. Rising into the night sky where light from ancient galaxies streams at its steady pace, below, humanity's instruments hum, measuring and remeasuring the same constant. Like monks ringing the same bell for centuries, above the cosmos waits, silent, its limit intact. Somewhere, hidden in the equations and the starlight, is the same question that haunted the first observers. If speed can slow time and bend space, what would it do to a living world hurled beyond its own possibility? And is that world already waiting for us on the other side of light? A corridor of speed. Earth races inside it like a trapped photon, its surface flickering with electric storms. Space ahead folds into a single needle point of light. Behind, galaxies smear into molten ribbons. What began as a sudden acceleration now becomes an experiment written on a planetary scale. Atmosphere ignites. Every molecule of nitrogen, oxygen, argon compressed into plasma hotter than the sun's core. At near-light velocity, air ceases to be a cushion. It becomes a barrage, a ceaseless battering of atomic warheads against rock and water. The leading edge of the planet glows white-blue, a continent-sized comet head shoving aside the interstellar medium. Mountains flatten like clay pressed under invisible thumbs. Lorentz contraction squeezes the Earth's bulk along the axis of motion, shortening it from a sphere into a cosmic discus. To an outside observer, the planet now measures a fraction of its original diameter, yet retains its full mass, an impossible geometry sustained by relativistic effects. Radiation blooms. Ahead of the planet, cosmic microwave background photons blue shift into gamma rays, invisible but lethal. What was once a faint 2.7 Kelvin glow now burns with the energy of nuclear blasts, bathing the leading hemisphere in cascades of high-energy particles. No atmosphere or magnetosphere can fully absorb this tide. Dust becomes doomsday. At rest, a speck of cosmic dust is harmless. At near-light speed, it carries the energy of a city-destroying bomb. Each collision vaporizes kilometers of surface, carving plasma craters that vanish only to be replaced by the next strike. Shielding a whole planet from this is beyond imagination. Even spacecraft the size of pinheads cannot survive such impacts. A question lingers. Does the Earth's own gravity hold its oceans, crust, and atmosphere in place under this assault? General relativity tells us gravity curves, space-time, but at near-light velocity, the stress-energy tensor spikes, altering the very field Earth creates. Is gravity still gravity when time itself is stretched thin? Mass fights back. As velocity approaches c, kinetic energy skyrockets, effectively increasing the inertial mass of every particle in the Earth's body. This mass-energy fusion strains tectonic plates, core convection, and mantle flow beyond any earthly precedent. The iron heart of the planet may seize, its dynamo arrested, extinguishing the magnetic shield that once cradled life. Time drips. On Earth's surface, moments extend heartbeat to heartbeat, stretched into centuries. A falling raindrop hangs suspended like glass. A thought begins, but may take decades to conclude. From outside, the planet blazes across the cosmos in a flash. But inside, inhabitants live in a near-eternal twilight. Colors collapse. The blue shift ahead saturates to ultraviolet and then to X-ray, while the trailing sky stretches into deep radio murmurs. Human vision cannot adapt. Photons arrive with energies that pierce cells, tearing DNA before the signal reaches the brain. The landscape becomes a spectral dream of white and void. Opposing theories stir. Could exotic physics, dark matter bubbles, warp fields, quantum foam, somehow insulate the planet? Might an emergent effect stabilize the atmosphere, converting radiation into harmless neutrinos, or bending space around the leading edge like a bow wave? These ideas dwell at the edge of speculation, as unfalsifiable as myths but tempting as salvation. Many reveal flickers. Even if such a shield formed, it would have to manage energies beyond the total output of stars, deflecting particles with momenta equivalent to mountains. One miscalculation, and the barrier becomes a bomb, releasing stored energy in a single cosmic sigh. Protection at this scale is not engineering, it is sorcery wearing physics mask. Water flees. Oceans at the leading edge flash into plasma, venting into space faster than gravity can call them back. At the trailing edge, low pressure and time dilation freeze molecules into glacial sheets, building strange crystalline mountains of atmospheric ice. Earth becomes two worlds at once, a forward-facing inferno and a backward-facing cryosphere. Radiation showers cells with mutations faster than replication can occur. DNA unravels under gamma cascades. Yet time dilation suspends death as much as life, creating a grotesque stasis where damage accumulates but processes to express it cannot complete. Bodies become frozen experiments, neither alive nor dead, awaiting a physics that no biology was meant to endure. The crust fractures. Seismic waves refract strangely through contracted space, echoing around the compressed globe. Volcanoes erupt in stop motion. Lava frozen mid-arc, ash clouds forming sculptures in the slow air. Even chemistry bends. Reaction rates decouple from familiar laws, kinetics rewritten by relativistic clocks. Another paradox whispers, to outside observers, Earth's flight is instantaneous. To insiders, it's forever. Mass and energy at these scales warp not just space and time, but causality, perhaps creating horizons where events cannot reach each other. Entire continents may become causally disconnected, each living its own stretched epoch. The stakes climb. If a planet can reach this realm, then perhaps black holes are not the only prisons of time. Perhaps there are natural corridors in spacetime where matter can be swept near light without destruction. Cosmic accelerators unseen, turning worlds into arrows. If so, what flung Earth here, and why? Magnetism twists. As charged particles spiral under relativistic compression, the magnetosphere elongates into a tail light years long. Auroras at the poles blossom into pillars of blue fire, visible across interstellar distances, announcing Earth's impossible passage to any who can see. It becomes a cosmic lighthouse without a keeper, yet the planet holds for now. Its mass, its gravity, its history coiled into a sphere of stone and water, all riding the edge of physics. Each second stretches further. Each inch of forward flight demands energies that defy comprehension. The question of survival becomes less about biology and more about ontology. What does it mean for a world to exist here at all? The camera pulls back. Earth, compressed, luminous, streaking like a blade through cosmic dust, wrapped in a faint halo of annihilated particles. Space itself bends before it, ripples trailing behind like the wake of a ship on an invisible ocean. Ahead, only the infinite dark, compressed to a pinpoint, waiting somewhere in that pinprick of dark light. All of physics trembles, a planet once ordinary, now a living paradox. Its every atom a question to the universe. If speed can crush space and freeze time, what secret force keeps the world from dissolving into pure energy? A hush, no engines, no roar, only the inaudible hum of motion. Earth, once alive with seasons and tides, now slides into an ocean of black, its colors collapsed into a single, trembling halo. From afar, it resembles not a planet, but a filament of blue fire, a ghost line etched across a dying sky. Time drips. Each second on its surface stretches like a glacier across eons. People, if they could still move, would find their memories smeared, their sentences unfinished, their gestures trapped in slow arcs. Outside, galaxies wheel, collide, and evaporate. Entire civilizations blooming and extinguishing before one heartbeat concludes. Inside the relativistic shell, silence grows. Signals sent outward lag ever further behind, their frequencies distorted into whispers beyond detection. Causal contact, the ability to act and be acted upon, becomes impossible. The world has outpaced its own reflections. It is not only a planet in flight, but a consciousness slipping beyond the reach of its own echo. Memory thins. At near light speeds, neural processes slow to the crawl of geological change. Synapses fire once in centuries. Perception dilates into a vast, unbroken moment. The mind becomes a seafloor fossil, thoughts embedded like shells in the sediment of time. A question flickers. If time slows enough, does suffering stop? Does joy? Is consciousness still consciousness when its rhythms stretch beyond any recall? Does identity survive a million years of pause between two thoughts? Space folds. Stars ahead contract into a hard white spike. Behind, the universe reddens toward darkness. The cosmic microwave background, once faint, grows lethal and then disappears into black silence. From Earth frame, the cosmos recedes, leaving only a tunnel of distorted space-time. No outside, only forward. Gravity twists. The compressed globe carries its own curved space-time with it, a bubble of slowed reality dragged across the void. Inside, clocks die, oceans congeal, winds become glassy streams, and mountains sag under frozen tectonic tension. This is no longer the Earth of forests and rivers, but an archetype, a model of matter at the edge of causality. Isolation deepens. Light from stars born long after humanity's extinction arrives at the compressed world only as ghost flickers, their wavelengths stretched beyond recognition. If any intelligence looks back, they see not a planet, but a brief flare already gone, a question mark drawn in photons. Causality itself, the handshake of interaction, has been severed. Consciousness drifts. If minds endure here, they float between instants, perhaps perceiving the outside cosmos as a single flash of birth, evolution, and death. Perhaps they sense an entire universe compressing into one final gesture, a cosmic wave, goodbye. Or perhaps nothing remains but frozen biology, a last fossil of thought. Another paradox hums. The speed of light once appeared a wall, but inside this corridor, it feels like a veil, thin, permeable to imagination, opaque to return. Does something wait beyond it, or only non-existence? Is C a boundary or a threshold? Physics gives no answer, only equations that refuse to converge. Colors fade. The halo of blue fire around the planet cools toward invisibility, like an ember smothered in ash. Trails of annihilated dust stretch for light years, a glowing spoor across interstellar darkness. Then even that residue vanishes, leaving nothing but the cosmic background and perhaps a ripple in spacetime. Where the world once was, the camera pulls back. What was Earth now appears as a line finer than a hair, curving through the galactic arms, a silent dart of compressed reality moving without reference. Around it, the Milky Way ages, stars gutter out, the black holes merge, the sky thins toward heat, death. Earth does not slow, it only coasts, carrying its interior stillness through a universe that is no longer there to witness. Reflection settles. If the universe is a story of beginnings and endings, Earth at light speed becomes a punctuation mark outside grammar, a living thing turned into a question, outrunning even the collapse of space itself. No myth foretold such a fate. No religion framed a heaven made of motion and stasis. Entwined, another whisper rises. If the laws are absolute, this is the end. But if they are thresholds, Earth may yet cross into a domain without time, a place where motion and stillness are indistinguishable, where causality blooms anew in unknown patterns. This possibility trembles at the edge of speculation, the dream of physics as creation, not confinement. The horizon fades. Inside the corridor, time no longer flows, but pools. Outside, the last galaxies wink out, leaving only darkness, only background, only the memory of light. The planet moves, yet there is nothing left to move through, only the geometry of its own trajectory. Final questions gather. Does speed have meaning without a universe to define it? Can identity persist without succession? Thought without time? Or does the ghost planet become something else entirely? A seed of a new cosmos, spinning its frozen moment into a future we cannot picture. The camera dissolves to black. No light remains, no motion visible, only a faint echo of a blue sphere that once teemed with oceans and forests. Now a myth carved in relativistic stone. The narration slows, nearly silent, like breath held at the edge of a dream. Then even that fades, leaving only the listener and the question. A thin blue ghost streaks across the cosmos. Vanishing into silence, its people paused between heartbeats. Its history stretched across eternity and somewhere beyond the veil of light. A whisper asks, if speed erases time, what remains to remember it?